welcome to our stream, everybody. This is Ariel Gatoga, and we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch for a general reading for all signs. For today, the 3rd of March 2023, moderating today on YouTube are the lovely Jennifer and the lovely Aaron, and moderating on Twitch is the lovely Heather. Thank you so much, moderators, and thank you to everybody for joining us for this general reading for all signs. I'm reading with this lovely Tarot de Luz, and I'm going to purify with my favorite commercial Van. This is L'Occitane's Verveine. 3 sprays in this big room is more than sufficient. You can do fine with just one, especially if you're trying to economize or if you're sensitive to fragrances. I just prefer it so much to burning things in my home, such as sage. Like I said, this is a general reading for all signs for today, the 3rd of March 2023. It's going out to everybody, whether you are watching live or on a restream. It does go out to a lot of people, so if for some reason it doesn't seem to apply to you personally, just disregard it, because it may not be meant for you. In that case, check out the zodiacal readings for your individual sun sign, rising sign, and or moon sign. All of those are available for restream on my YouTube channel. I don't read with card reversals, so you will see me flipping those cards right side up. Don't panic, all is well. It's just my preferred style of reading. I read with a lot of ancient decks, and so many of those are not reversible, so I just have gotten into the habit of not bothering with reversals. If you would like to give us a donation, you can do that by going to paypal.me/ArielGatoga, paypal.me/ArielGatoga. We do not yet have access to super stickers or super chats, on our YouTube channel. Because we're so new, we need 4,000 more watch hours. So in the meantime, if you'd like to support us with a donation, you can do that by going to paypal.me/ArielGatoga, paypal.me/ArielGatoga. We also have a shop, and that's located at arielscornershop.com. arielscornershop.com. We have all kinds of beautiful merchandise, including tarot decks. We make a small commission off of each and every sale. We do appreciate your support. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell. And if you're watching on Twitch, please follow us on Twitch. You can watch our videos on Twitch without any ads by subscribing to us there. All right, one more shuffle ought to do it. This feels pretty good. Ooh, well, that was a horrible shuffle. Let's do one more. That's better. Okay. I don't quite match, but I'm in the vaguely in the same family. All right, let's see here. We've got the 4 of Swords. I love a good 4 of Swords. Star, awesome, and Death, wonderful. This is a great day. All right, this 4 of Swords is talking about what is happening because of what many of you have been doing. What many of you have been doing is using wisdom when it comes to dealing with difficulties, especially difficult people, conflicts, even some of you are with internal conflict, but any kind of conflict, right? And that's disengaging from it right now. Now, I always say it's not always appropriate to completely disengage from conflict. Sometimes you have to. You have to spar. Sometimes it's necessary. But most of the time when we engage with in conflict, it's not necessary. And in fact, it's hooking us and keeping things going that are counter to our happiness, counter to our success. And a lot of you have really been getting that and really not falling for the hook, not falling for the bait. And I think that's amazing. And that's why so many of you have had a couple good nights rest. There's a couple of you that's actually been like, whoa, I actually slept. How did that happen? And part of the reason why that happened is because you're not all wound up as much with the conflicts. So for those of you that this is speaking to, that's amazing. Good for you. Now, regardless if that's you or not, as you learn to do that, as you do learn to disengage from unnecessary conflict, and I would say the bulk of the conflict is unnecessary, what you're doing is you're putting yourself in tune and in alignment with this star card. And that star goddess is all about grace. That star goddess is all about forgiveness. And that star goddess is all about undoing negative consequences from your mistakes, right? So a lot of times we feel so tied to the mistakes that we've made in the past, and we're still paying for them. So many of us, where there's it's just like consequence after consequence after consequence, and then you get kind of stuck on that consequence cycle. It's like a wheel that won't stop turning, where you respond and react to the consequences that you're receiving, which causes more consequences, and it just goes around and around and around. So as you disengage from the conflict, then that gives an opening for this star goddess energy to come in and actually untie you from it, completely remove you from that altogether. So you're removed from the cycle, and you're also removed from all the consequences. You'll notice that a lot of the sort of bad luck or bad karma that many of you think that you have been dealing with, and maybe you have been, stop. It just stops. It's just like, whoa, how come I stopped hurting? How did that happen? How come I feel happy? What happened? How come I'm sleeping better? What? Wait, what? That's that star goddess. That's that energy of forgiveness. And for those of you who are, more Christian in your perspective, you don't have to call it star goddess. You can call it the Holy Spirit. Okay, it's all the same thing. We're all in this together, regardless of what everybody might think. Everybody's a brother and sister. Everybody's equal in the eyes of infinite intelligence. So it doesn't matter what you call it. But for us here, we call her the star goddess, or the goddess, and she is all about undoing, untying, releasing you, freeing you, forgiving you. And you understand that forgiveness is not some silly concept, right? The more you allow yourself to be freed from all of your past mistakes, the more willing you are to free other people from their past mistakes, because you see that it just perpetuates your bliss. It perpetuates your happiness. It perpetuates your success. And then what happens? All that stuff dies. All those problems just die. Just completely no more problems, right? And that sounds too over the top, right? That sounds, somebody accused me of hyperbole the other day. You're so hyperbolic. Well, okay, if you call that hyperbolic, that's fine, but it's just the truth. It's just the truth. Your problems die when they get cut off from their life supply. That's how it works. And so having your problems die is not a bad goal. And the way that you're understanding how to do that is by allowing yourself to disengage from the source of many of those problems, which is that need to have conflict. Now, that need to have conflict, many of you are discovering, comes from our own attraction to them. It's so weird how we're just sort of addicted to guilt. And we don't want to say it like that because it doesn't make any sense, but we're just sort of addicted to guilt. And being addicted to guilt sometimes shows up as blame. It's just like, well, I don't want to feel guilty, but I want them to feel guilty, right? It's all the same. So as you're disengaging from that wheel of guilt and blame and punishment and all of that, you notice that everything just starts to feel better, starts to look better. Now, what's interesting here, I better get faster because we're going to run out of time. This Three of Wands here in the past, part of that is many of you have noticed an immediate change for the better when you have made a conscious effort to disengage from your blaming, or disengage from your feeling guilty, or disengage from any of those conflicts, internal or external. Many of you have started noticing, wow, manifestation just starts happening. I start doing better in my work. I start having more inspiration. I start working better in the world and having better results. And that's amazing. And you want to realize and equate it to what you're doing so that you reinforce that positive behavior on your part. Disengaging from unnecessary conflict brings me success. Yay, I'm keeping that. I'm understanding that, right? It also brings you magnetism in your aura. It's practical so that you can start drawing the prosperity that you need, the money that you need, the resources that you need, right? And then when the problems start to die, what happens? The ego goes, No, 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 no. We're not going to be, I will not abide the problems dying. The problems are my only hope, right? Because that's what the ego trades in. The ego trades in not only problems, but seemingly unsolvable problems. And so when you notice that your problems start to die away, you'll notice, many of you, that the ego starts to get its dander up and you start to get even extra judgy, extra need to be right. You start listening to that voice in your head that really wants to blame, that really wants to, to almost go overboard on the blame. Or if that's not going to work for you, the ego, it realizes, oh, no, they're not blaming. Okay, let's get them feeling guilty then. That'll work, and then you'll just start feeling more guilty. So when that happens, don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as a positive. The ego's getting nervous. The ego's getting upset because things are working in your favor. You're really moving through your life in a new way that maybe for most of you, it could be like real new territory. Like, whoa, when we say spiritual growth, we really mean spiritual growth. Look how grown I'm getting. Look how strong I'm getting. So when you get that, when the ego starts to try to convince you to not disengage in these conflicts, to really get you upset, it's time to get extra vigilant and really double down on your peace. Really double down on your disengagement from that, because it's a sign that things are working. It's a sign that things are working. So for the star card, if you really want to optimize your experience of grace and that experience of freedom and untying you from your problems, there's a couple things you can do. One thing is you could even listen to my meditation based on the star card. It's called Receiving the Divine Grace of the Star Goddess. Another thing you can do is work the Witch's Rosary. And we happen to be doing that today on my live stream at 10:15 a.m. Pacific on my other channel, my main channel, which you can always just listen to the restream of that if you want to. That's all about pulling that grace into your life and accepting that grace that is your divine right to release you from past problems and to release you from that carousel of consequences. And then for this death card, you may want to listen to my meditation based on this death card called Letting Problems Die. Letting problems die. If you can learn to let the problems die, the ego has nothing to do. It can't help. It can't do anything, because that's its only weapon against you. And so the main way that you can overcome, if you will, your ego is by disregarding it, by not listening to the voice, because the ego is not an entity. It can only do to you what you allow it to do, because it's just about you making decisions based on the ego versus based on the star goddess. So if you listen to that star goddess's voice, she won't even let you down the road of where the ego's going. She'll completely protect you from that. But that's up to you. It's up to you. And you can tell the difference between those two voices. One is very loving and one is very destructive. So it's pretty easy. And you're learning to disengage from that destructive voice. And I think that makes you amazing. So I'm very proud of you. So good job. We'll be back for another reading tomorrow. Thank you so much to the amazing moderator team. Today we had Jennifer, Aaron, and Heather. And we'll see everybody for another general reading tomorrow. Blessed be.